take you then to Limpopo on quite a different track, and this is where health officials are giving an update on the identification and repatriation of the Botswana nationals who died in a bus crash last month. Last week, 6 families received the remains of their loved ones at the Mokopane Hospital. Nqobile Madlala is there and will give us the very latest. Nqobile, it's been a sad story on so many different fronts, but at least families get to be reunited with the remains of their loved ones so that they can begin the process of saying goodbye.
Well, yes, Iman, you can imagine just how difficult it has been for families to have to wait for this process to continue in the background. We know that the identification process has been happening in both countries with the DNA that has been taken from the families in Botswana, as well as the DNA process that was taking place in South Africa, where they were actually testing the bodies that were in that crash. So we know that after quite a long process that has taken place, about 42 out of the 43 people have been identified, and you will remember that in the same process that it was said that about 9 people were identifiable. The 9th person was then also taken out, saying that only 8 were identifiable. We know that process already was underway and it was finished, and now we understand that 42 out of the 45 were already identified. So we need to understand at this time now, if the process has gone as far as ensuring that 45 people are identifiable and that repatriation can now take place. We understand that at this point the families, of course, have been waiting for the understanding in terms of how far it's going to go, how it will go. The MEC just explaining that there's got to be a packaging of the way that will take place. So we are at this point at 11 o'clock expecting the MEC to then take to the podium to speak to us about that repatriation, when it will happen, how many of the people will be leaving. We also understand that there should be some family members that are going to be here to also speak to identify some of their loved ones. So that in itself is also a process that should be taking place. But interestingly, Iman, you will remember that even from the beginning of this process, we were told that ZCC is quite active as the church. So St. Agnes ZCC Church was also very active in assisting families. So we are expecting that some of that support to also filter through, and we see how they are going to be helping families. But you will also understand that in Botswana this was seen as a tragedy that had shocked the entire nation. So as a result, we know that there was that memorial that took place where the families gathered together to remember their loved ones. So we are expecting also to understand what is the way forward from the Botswana country, to understand what will they do going forward. Will there be a national also a funeral that will take place? We will hear all those details once the MEC takes the podium to explain to us the process going forward.